Today's lesson is on describing location and distribution, part 2. Our objective for today is to describe the effect of adding, subtracting, multiplying by, or dividing by a constant on the shape, center, and spread of a distribution of data. So let's suppose we're given a simple data set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can easily see that the mean and the median are both 3. So here's the median. And that the range is 4, meaning 5 minus 1. With a few calculations, we can determine that the IQR is 3. Let's just make those really quickly. The Q1 would be halfway between 1 and 2, so it would be 1.5. And the Q3 would be equal to 4.5. So you can see that the Q3 minus the Q1 is 3. If you entered these into your calculator, you would find that the standard deviation is 1.58. What would happen to the measures of center and spread if we added a constant to all the values in the data set? So for example, suppose we increased all the values by 2. So in other words, that would just make our data set 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, of course, we can see that the median would now be 5, and the mean would also be 5. So x bar would be 5, median would be 5. You can see that the Q1 would be 3.5. The Q3 would be 6.5. So all of those would also be increased by 2. However, look at the range. The range is now 7 minus 3. It's still 4. The IQR is 6.5 minus 3.5. It's still 3. With a little checking, you would find that the standard deviation is still 1.58. So in other words, adding a constant to all the observations in our data set increased all of the measures of center and position by 2, but it didn't do anything to the measures of spread. So let's summarize that. What's the effect of adding or subtracting a constant? Adding the same positive number A to each observation, or subtracting it, adds A to all the measures of center and location, so to the mean, the median, the quartiles, the percentiles. But it does not change the measures of spread, the range, the IQR, the standard deviation, or the shape of the distribution. Using that same simple data set, let's see what would happen if we multiply all the values by a positive constant. So in other words, our data set would now be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. We can now see that the median and the x bar are both 6. Let's see. The Q1 is 3. The Q3 is 9. I don't know if you can remember those or not. I think it was 1.5 from before and originally, and 4.5. So those are twice as big as they were before. So all twice as big for measures of center position. And then what about the range? The range is now 10 minus 2. It's 8, twice as big as before. What's the IQR? It's 9 minus 3. It's 6, twice as big as before. So as you can see, and with a little checking, you would see that the standard deviation is twice as big as 1.58, which is 3.16. You'd have to put the data into your calculator to actually see that calculation. So all of these are twice as big as well. So the effect of multiplying or dividing by a constant. Multiplying each observation by the same positive number B multiplies the measures of center and location by B, meaning median, mean, Q1, Q3, percentiles. And it also multiplies measures of spread by B, so range, interquartile range, and standard deviation. However, the shape does not change. If it was a symmetric distribution to start with, it'll still be symmetric. If it were skewed to start with, it'll still be skewed. So let's just look at one final example here. These are summary statistics for a sample of 30 test scores, and as you can see, they're kind of skewed to the left here. The maximum possible points was 50, and here are summary statistics for the test scores. So what if the teacher wanted to add 5 points to each test score? How would this change the shape, the center, and the spread? So let's start with shape. Shape would remain unchanged. Would still be skewed left. Measures of center would increase by 5. So in other words, the X bar would be 40.8 and the median would be 42. The measures of spread wouldn't change. What if the teacher decided that she wanted to convert her test scores to percents? And since the test scores are out of 50 points, she just needs to see what those same test scores would be out of 100 points. So she would need to multiply all the scores by 2. So what would that do to the shape, the center, and the spread? So the shape, it would still be skewed left. But this time, all measures of center and spread would be multiplied by 2. Let me fix that. Center and spread would be multiplied by 2. And that's all for today. You'll need to complete 2 quiz questions on Blackboard, and then we'll continue with homework on Monday.